All right. Well, you are back with Hitting the Hard Court. We're with me, Dunmore. We're missing Josh this week, but he's got some family stuff, and we'll keep his Laker spirit in the air here, though. This week, where we got to start is Golden State getting blown out of the water by San Antonio.
Yeah, that was pretty rough there. And they are able to bounce back tonight, it looks like, against the Pelicans, get right. And I'm looking at SportsCenter Live right now where Scott Van Pelt is actually currently interviewing Steph Curry after the game. I mean, this was typical. You know, they get bounced by CNN and they come back and get right against a Pelican squad that is shorthanded, and Anthony Davis just is wasting 50-40 games each night because they're not getting wins.
A big story for non-Spurs fans, obviously, is Jonathan Simmons and Steph on D and on O, throwing down the MVP every replacing Timmy D here.
Yeah, definitely. I feel like they'll be all right actually. Um, what do you call it? Gasol is a willing passer, and the team is predicated on motion and finding the open man, and that plays into his strengths. If you can find the open man, then you can get a bucket. Fortunately, they still have Parker who can get to the bucket at will, and Kawhi Leonard is literally emerging as a superstar and a defensive stalwart because I watched him play last night against Sacramento, and I watched him play a little bit against Golden State, and he has literally ripped. He's just ripping guards. He's guarding you, and if you put the ball in his face, he's taking it from you. And I think it's great timing because his hands are big, but I feel like he's just that good defensively that he's just waiting for you to put the ball in front of him, and when you do, he's taking it from you, which is making them very lethal.
Defensive Player of the Year already, so we know how good of a defender. And 30 against Sacramento here. Does Leonard come up in the MVP? This is 2 games into the season, but does he look like somebody? Rice.
I didn't get that last part. Could you go again?
So Kawhi had 35 opening night Golden State, and we had 30 against Sacramento here. It's only 2 games, but race for MVP.
Either him or Russ. Russ goes for 51, 13, and 10 tonight, triple-double, and an overtime win against Phoenix. But San Antonio is currently 2-0. And they, I guess in the words of Dennis Green, they are who we thought they were. You know, Tim Duncan retires, they go and sign Pau Gasol. And it's as if they've never left. The one thing I like about the San Antonio Spurs, they developed their talent. Nobody knew Jonathan Simmons. Nobody knows Deadman. And I'm pretty sure this season they're going to play a big role in helping them to get back to where they want to be. It'll be a situation where you have guards who are unknown, and, you know, aside from a Patty Mills and a Tony Parker, they're going to make shots. And what do you call it? Pop is going to trust them at crunch time because Pop doesn't care who plays as long as he develops you for the postseason. The Spurs can come in as the 8th seed, and they'll still be a threat to win the championship. And in that case, I think maybe you're right. Maybe a Kawhi Leonard might be the front runner for MVP, you know, because he's doing it on both ends of the court, and that's huge.
In the MVP talk, I was talking with Mike earlier today. Do you think they can be same year?
Who is it?
Kawhi, do you think he can go Defensive Player of the Year and
That would be tough, but I think they'd give him MVP before they gave him a third straight Defensive Player of the Year. They're looking for any reason to unseat him as Defensive Player of the Year, but I feel like he's a stalwart there. I guess I should spin it around. He'll get Defensive Player of the Year again before he gets that MVP because he is, he's just doing what he wants on defense. He's locking his guy down. He's picking guards. I mean, Steph Curry has a great handle, and they just showed him just take it from Steph Curry. And that to me is that. There's your Defensive Player of the Year. Two games into the season. Now MVP wise, he's going to have help with LaMarcus Aldridge. A guy like, say, I'm just going to pull one out of the hat. If Anthony Davis can lead his team to a 7th, 8th seed, then yeah, he could garner votes. James Harden, he could garner tons of votes. I think the league wants to promote a James Harden or Anthony Davis MVP. More Anthony Davis than anything. Even Karl Anthony Towns. Karl Anthony Towns could possibly garner some votes if his team can be a top 4 seed in the West. But it's something where the MVP is coming from out West this year. I have a feeling that the MVP is going to come from out West, and you're going to be hard pressed to argue it, whoever it is.
So, or is he just kind of his own? He's kind of his own conference.
Who? Kawhi?
LeBron out east, because you said it's coming out of the West this year. So do you count, or do you just guy?
I give LeBron a shot to win the MVP. I just feel as though that LeBron is LeBron. He does typical LeBron things. We've come to expect LeBron to do what he does. Give you 29 or better yet 26, 8-8 for the season. And if that's the case, then he should win MVP every season. But I feel like with LeBron, it's just a matter of he does it so consistently. He does what he does it so fluid and effortlessly that he just it's expected of him. It's almost like the 2 years that Steve Nash won MVP over Shaq. And we expect Shaq to do what he does. If you look at it, when Shaq went to the Lakers, he was dominant every season. He could have won an MVP, league MVP every season, but then it wouldn't have been fun anymore.
No.
So LeBron dominating the MVP award, I kind of feel like, no, they're going to let it come from out West this year. The writers are going to really be hard-pressed to give it to someone from the East Coast.
No doubt Jordan comes to mind. Shaq's another one. Guys that just absolutely dominated all the time. Kareem
definitely
could have been enough. That takes away the fun of the game. What do you think of the Clippers? They're only one in, but they took out a straw and the Trailblazers.
For me,
see clockwork, or do you see them in this year?
Well, I feel like the Clippers are a team that is it always seems like the Clippers are one player away, or they're usually an injury away from being a legit contender. One of those situations where, I watched some of the game last night against Portland, and Damian Lillard was game to go against them. The one thing I see is that the matchup is a different matchup. If you look at it last season in the playoffs, last postseason, there was no Blake Griffin. And Damian Lillard was able to get to the rim. He did what he wanted to do because he also didn't have any CP3. So it's kind of like, all right, I'm going to do what I feel like doing. Right now, excuse me. Right now, they have a healthy CP3 in a game, Blake Griffin. And I don't see I don't see the Clippers being the typical Clippers this year. I kind of think that they have something to prove, and come the trade deadline, if they're a 2-3 seed in the West currently, they may not break the team up. If they're struggling, they may go shop. They may shop Blake Griffin heavy. I don't know where you can send him to get a good player, but I think they may possibly. You could send him to New York for a Carmelo Anthony and a Joakim Noah. You could possibly send him to Brooklyn and get Brook Lopez. You could, if CP3 won't resign, you can send him to Phoenix for a couple draft picks and possibly Eric Bledsoe or Brandon Knight. These are all possibilities. Hell, you can send him to Oklahoma City, send him home, and go get Domantas Sabonis and a first-round draft pick, and him and Russell play together. But I don't see them actually being the typical Clippers that we usually see.
Teams there I wanted to talk about. Number one, let's start with the Pacers. Off night.
Could you repeat that one more time? It's not your mic. It's more of I guess it's a connection. It's weird.
Oh, okay. So we had the Pacers. I mentioned Brooklyn here in a deal. Does Brooklyn look like a team that's going to look like an off night for an up and down Pacers team?
Yeah, that's an off night for them. I've seen Jeremy Lin had 21, 9, and 9, and I expect to be completely honest, I expect the Pacers to be the number 2 seed in the East this year. The team is stacked. They have Paul George, who has help. This is the most help Paul George has had since Danny Granger played. When they had George Hill, Granger, who else played for them? Roy Hibbert, stuff like that. I think this will be the most game Pacers team that you see because they have a young point guard in T. Monta Ellis is going to return to form. Of course, we know Paul George will do his thing, but I think the real key will be up front with Thad Young and Miles Turner and Big Al. That right there will let you know how they can compete because their bigs are big. And if they were to get into a 7-game series with say Cleveland, they have the bodies to throw at LeBron. They have the bodies to throw at him, and they can also score with him off the bench, which will be, I think, a really big thing because once Paul George needs a rest, you can bring in a volume scorer like a Rodney Stuckey who can get buckets. So yeah, I think that team will be big.
I think the Pacers are going to be the Knicks now that Josh isn't here. I lost the mic connection last week, but I wasn't nodding my head, much to Josh's dismay. And where do you have New York this year?
The Knicks didn't. They looked okay against Cleveland, and I went on Twitter and I said this. I said the Knicks look okay until Cleveland really wants to put their foot on the gas. And when Cleveland put their foot on the gas, the Knicks look like typical Knicks. They stop moving the ball. Melo start throwing up some shots. Derrick Rose started getting to the rim. He was penetrating, but he wasn't finding anyone. The Knicks could possibly be a 4 or 5 seed, maybe a 5-6 seed, but they have to come together. They have to come together. I like their team. Kyle O'Quinn, Brandon Jennings, Ron Baker. They have a nice little nucleus on the bench, but those guys have to. They got to move the ball. They have to move the ball. The players have to move. And if they don't move, then it's just Melo shooting up a bunch of jump shots while everybody clears out and gets on the weak side or the strong side, and Melo's on the weak side. So I would like to see the Knicks play better because they could be as high as a 3 seed or 2 seed, but they could also be as low as an 8. I see them making the playoffs. I just don't know where they'll make the playoffs because of the fact that they're just really, really iffy.
You mentioned grade. He's who do you have?
I'm not sure where Mick went. I'm guessing the connection may have failed us. And for that, we apologize. But I guess I can wrap it up by saying that there are a lot of interesting stories coming into this season, especially with the season being 3 games old. You know, for some teams, other teams have only played one game. I think that, you know, the a lot of people are saying that excuse me, that the East got better. You know, I would like to say that the East, few teams on the East got better. I don't think the East really got better. I think that the West just got so much better, or that the West is continuing to develop their talent, that, you know, there is no one that'll be able to compete out East with the West. To me, the West has about 4 or 5 teams that could possibly win a title, and the East may only have one, with that one being Cleveland. If Cleveland doesn't win it, or if Cleveland doesn't win the East, I basically see it as a cakewalk for the West to bring home another title. And with the West bringing home another title, I don't see it coming into Golden. I don't see it coming from Golden State. I mean, I am a Oklahoma City apologist, but I don't see it could be coming into Golden State because of the fact that Golden State is just so small. I watched a little bit of the game today against the Pelicans, and, you know, players are just getting right to the rim. The only thing about it is that the Warriors were able to outshoot teams. That made a difference. It can make a difference come playoff time also, but it could also hinder them. Whereas teams like the Spurs could continue to out rebound them like they did, plus 21 on the boards. That isn't something that you'll see often. But if they can't rebound, they being Golden State, then it could possibly end in their demise. And I'll end it on that note. My name is Jason Dunmore, signing off for Sidelines, hard hitting, hardcore sports talk.